Do you just want to forward it with this?
Oh, sure, yeah, I can do that.
Okay. This is Terry Gerhardt. I'll let you introduce yourself with all of the interesting info that you have for us today. And Liz will come in a whirlwind to the back.
That's okay. So good morning, everybody. My name's Terry Gerhardt, and I am with Neighborhood Finance. I'm the new director of lending, just on board a couple of weeks ago. So jumped right in with both feet. For those of you that don't know who I am and want to know a little bit about me, I've been in lending since 1984, and in mortgage exclusively since 97 when I came back to Des Moines. And I have been in leadership management roles. I've been a producer. The last time I produced in the renovation lending space. So I was real familiar with how the renovation programs worked with the 203Ks, the Fannie Mae, the home style standards. I got myself positioned where I was a top 5 lender in the country for that with Wells, out of probably 350 to 400 of those specialists. So did some really good things with that. And my last role in leadership with Wells until I got caught up in a restructuring that they're continuing to go through yet today. So that's how I kind of ended up here. But we've got some things, that we're going to be kicking off here. And what we're going to talk about today is really 2 events. So if anybody's ever heard of Neighborhood Lift, and you're going to see some handouts here, Wells is actually the sponsoring lender for this because they kicked in $4 million towards this Lift event.
Okay, can I just interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
The Wells Fargo lady that had Christy, that has been my lender helping me through this, I've been blowing this up and nobody's taking me seriously.
Yeah.
This is such a good deal.
Yeah. So coupled with, we'll talk a little bit about Project Reinvest in Polk County. So Project Reinvest is a homeownership plan that provides down payment assistance. And the difference is that the Project Reinvest is a deferred loan. So there are no payment terms, nothing like that, but it's a deferred loan for up to $10,500 or less. That is available throughout Polk County, and NFC, we are the administrator of those funds. So unlike the grant program, which we're going to get into here in a little bit, the Project Reinvest money, there's still some money available with that, and that can be coupled with the Neighborhood Lift grant. So for somebody out there, $25,000 towards down payment, it's a big, big deal. Okay.
Is this just Polk County?
Polk County.
Okay, this one too. Okay.
We are in Polk County.
Okay.
We actually just are opening an office in the Cedar Rapids market for Lynn County. Have not had a grand opening yet, but that's getting real close to being up and running. We're going to get that kicked off, but we are in Polk County serving just basically the city of Des Moines and surrounding areas. We've got targeted areas that we lend in for revitalizing neighborhoods. The Project Reinvest is a little bit different because it's a countywide program. So moving forward, how this works. So a home buyer can get up to $10,500 in deferred loans at no interest. The APR is 0.08 because there is a $250 fee that goes with that, so you do have a little bit of an APR cost there. The deferred loan does not have to be repaid until the home is sold, or if they ever go to seek a refinance of the mortgage. So there are no repayment terms, but it is a loan, not a forgivable grant on the Project Reinvest money. Home buyers are required to complete 8 hours of homebuyer education before they get the loan. We partner that through Home Inc. And then the approved lenders, we've got a list of those that basically provide the fixed rate loan note, and then NFC provides the down payment loan. We do have a little small list of approved lenders for Project Reinvest, probably somewhere between 6 and 8 lenders. NFC is actually a lender for that program as well. So a little bit about the Project Reinvest piece.
I have a quick question. That one loan thing, I guess I'm not under, the girl that I just closed the loan on, I wasn't understanding what that 10,500, so it is a loan and she moves out, but if she stays in, it just kind of pays itself off. Is that, I guess I'm not understanding.
It depends on the loan, because we've got several different ways and things that we can use to structure loans. So Project Reinvest is a special grant block of money that we received, that we administered those funds for participating lenders, and I think there's between 6 and 8 of those lenders.
Do you know them off the top, or where can I find?
Off the top of my head, I don't, and for the neighborhood lift piece, that will be finalized this week and up on the website.
Okay.
So we're trying to get that thing finished off, but the neighborhood lift that's coming up here, that money was actually sponsored by Wells. It was $4 million that we're giving to be used towards down payment assistance for people buying homes in Polk County. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So part of it, just on the Project Reinvest piece, it is a deferred loan, not a grant. The regular NFC loan that we have, which is the NFC Advantage, those are forgivable grants, where we use money to allow a homeowner to come in and do some basic improvements to the property up to $10,000, where they don't have to pay anything back on that. It's forgivable at 20% per year. So borrowers, has to be owner occupied property. It's not for investors. Borrowers can't own any other properties. There's no maximum or minimum first mortgage loan limit, no maximum LTV or CLTV requirements, and no minimum or maximum borrower investment. So all home buyers, the key to this is they've got to have the home buyer education, and that's an 8-hour class. They can go and take it up. I think the classes, there's 4 different ones that they register to, different nights. It's basically 2 hours of class, or for those that want to do it, I think there's a link they can go on and kind of do it at their own pace, and it usually goes a little bit faster.
What's the cost for the class?
Through HomeMake, it's $20.
Reasonable.
Okay. Eligible property types: single family, condos, townhomes, 2 to 4 units, PUDs, land trust co-ops, and manufactured home. Probably won't have many of those here in Polk County, but we might have a few. Eligible borrowers: first-time buyers, non-first-time buyers, living trusts on behalf of persons with disabilities, and then we can do purchases, short sales, or new construction with the Project Reinvest money.
Excuse me, are we discussing the $15,000 grant or just that 10?
It's the 15's coming.
Okay.
This is Project Reinvest, and the reason why it's in here is we've got money left over in that pool, and it's basically going to kind of be combined. So you've got borrowers that are going to be able to take advantage of both pools of money into a single transaction.
I know that just to compare the two, they're kind of the same, but this one has I think this one has lower income, right? And
There is an income limit with that, yep.
And they're different for both
Yep.
of them, right?
They are different.
Okay.
They are
and
different.
Then, yeah, I guess if we go, and I know you're good at this, but if we go over the differences, then will help me.
Yep, so for the Project Reinvest, here are the income limits for 2018. So based on your household size, that's the maximum income that a borrower can have in order to qualify for the Project Reinvest funds. So it's all gonna be based off of household size.
Do they review that income guideline or their income ever? While they have that loan or that grant? Like if they would,
I don't think anything. counts.
It's at the time of,
Okay.
it's at the time of application,
Okay.
that's when you have to meet the qualifications.
so they
for
don't
it.
review it ever, or,
If your income changes down the road,
okay.
it changes down the road. Okay, this is only at the time of application when those funds are being qualified and distributed.
What if you have a married couple that their income exceeds that 55, but a husband or wife doesn't qualify, so only one of them can be on the loan?
So it depends on the project and depends on what funds you're using. Some of them are all household income, others are just the applicants that are on the loan. Okay. So here's a list of the approved lenders as it sits right now for the Project Reinvest money. So these lenders that you're going to see up on the screen here, these are the lenders that can utilize those funds. Wells is not up there right now. They're pending approval, but for the neighborhood lift piece, that's where they're in with. So getting to neighborhood lift. So we are a chartered member. NFC is a chartered member of NeighborWorks, national organization. And what happens is that we get funds that basically come from lenders at times that go in and they want to basically just promote homeownership in neighborhoods. I think 2 weeks ago, we just had an event in Chicago. Neighborhood Lift was in Chicago a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember and tell you how much money was in that one, but every neighborhood or every community that has the ability to do these things is a little bit different in, as far as the funds that they commit to that area. Neighborhood Lift is a $15,000 forgivable loan for down payment assistance to buy a home in Polk County. Home buyers will have up to 60 days to find a home and have a signed purchase agreement. We will determine the eligibility, and we'll have preferred lenders for the Neighborhood Lift piece available on the website, hopefully sometime by the end of the week, because registration is going to start for this on the 10th. So in the handouts that I've given to everybody today and left some on the tables, you're going to see some things down here. The actual event itself is going to be on a Friday and a Saturday, September 28th and 29th. That's when we have the event itself, and that's going to be held down at Hy-Vee Hall. What borrowers are going to do is they're going to go and they're going to register. There's a link that they're going to go and they're going to register under that link to attend the event. And when they come to the event, they're going to bring their documentation with them, income, assets, that kind of thing. So we're going to have, Wells is because it's a sponsored event, Wells is going to have originators and things there. We're going to be there with our team because we're the ones that are administering the grant money. So we're going to be looking at verifying income, things like that, to determine eligibility. Once the borrower comes in, if the borrower comes in with a pre-approved lender and says, hey, I'm pre-approved with X lender, I want to use this grant monies, it has to be with a lender that is participating in Neighborhood Lift or with NFC to be eligible for that. Okay, it's the only way they're going to get the grant money applied. They have up to 60 days from the time that this event takes place to enter into a purchase agreement. So what will happen is they're going to come to the event, they're going to register, they're going to come to the event, they're going to determine eligibility, and they're going to get a reservation. And then that reservation is basically going to reserve those grant funds for that homeowner. They're going to go out, they have to make sure that they register, or not register, they have to make sure that they secure a purchase agreement by November 28th, 60 days. If the person that came to the event gets a reservation and they don't enter into a purchase agreement by November 28th, then the reservation goes away, they lose that opportunity, and those funds go back into the pool, first come, first serve. Okay, so that's what's going to happen with that process. So again, the event dates, important to remember, your registration date is September 10th. So there's going to be a link they're going to go to. It kind of funnels through Wells' website. They've got to get out there and they've got to register for the event, because that basically is their ticket to get into the event. And when they come, they've got some instructions, they've got the documentation pieces and things like that they're going to have to bring, because we want to make sure that we determine the eligibility, give them the reservation after having that done, and then they're off trying to find a property to buy to enter into that purchase agreement. No loans can close prior to October 30th. So October 30th is kind of a preset date from the date that the event goes. It's basically about 30 days out from that, but we cannot close any loans prior to October 30th to use this grant money for the Neighborhood Lift. It's got to be after October 30th for close dates. Okay. Continuing education, again, through Home Inc. There are different things that you can do with this. So we'll look at the eligibility based on, Project Reinvest or Neighborhood Lift. The thing with Neighborhood Lift is first responders and military and teachers. They can get an extra $2,500 if they fit into one of those categories. So for our first responders, our military, and our teachers, they got an extra $2,500 on top of the 15 that they're going to get if they qualify under those rules. The incomes for the first responder, military teacher are actually a little bit higher as well. Okay. Home ownership, as far as the home buyer education piece goes through Home Inc. There's a link in here where they can go in. Again, they'll be able to see that on the page. They'll register for that. They'll get that home buyer education done. It's $20. They'll get a class certificate that can be used for Project Reinvest or Neighborhood Lift or both. Okay, so they only need to go to that once. And if you're husband and wife, I think that only one of you needs to go, not both of you. Okay, so only one party will need to go. So to register for that, you just go to neighborhoodfinance.org /homebuyer class, and you'll be able to get to the link to register for that homebuyer ed. So our core loans here with our NFC Advantage loans on top of this is that we have purchase opportunities, refinance opportunities, home improvement, what we call front porch exterior. Ones that we're gonna just talk to you about today is basically just our purchase transaction. So that is a forgivable loan up to $10,000 that can be used for improvements to a house. So let's just say that I got a property in one of our lending areas that's been designated, and they're buying a property over on the south side. And we're gonna have a city inspector go out once they enter into a purchase agreement. The city inspector comes back and gives us basically an inspection report saying, yep, this house is gonna qualify for this. Here are the things that they need to do. Here's what I believe the estimated cost is gonna be for those. So it is up to $10,000. And so if they only spend $6,000, $7,000, whatever it is, that grant money, that forgivable loan goes towards those repairs. So it can be anything from electrical to plumbing to I need a new roof, hot water heater, furnace, air conditioner, whatever the case is in those improvements, that's the forgivable piece. Now, what do we do if we get into it and it's a little bit more detailed where we've got more money that we need to put into the house? We'll say I need to put 20 grand into it. That 10 of that 20,000 in those improvements is gonna be forgivable, right? It's gonna be forgivable over a 5-year period. So for each anniversary date of the day from their closing, on the anniversary date each year, 20% of that is gonna be forgiven over a 5-year period until we get at the end of the 5 years, then a release gets filed and those get removed. So we've got a gal in the office that does nothing but track this stuff. That's her sole job. She tracks all these things, tracks and pays contractors as work starts and finishes. We do that. Those programs are not HUD, so it's not an FHA renovation program. It is the Fannie Mae conventional home style standard program. That's the one that we use. So we set these things up. They're always kind of like 80-15-5s. So borrowers got to have at least 5%, down. 3% has to be their own money. The other 2% can be gifted or come from, the grant. If they meet median income requirements, so if they're under 80% of the area median income requirement for the county, then they're going to be eligible for another $2,500 on top of 10 grand. That's also going to be forgivable. Okay. Any questions on that so far? Anybody used NFC before?
I did 2 of these loans with, just recently closed them. And
Okay.
one of them was a huge shit show, but I don't know if it was because of the buyer or because of NFC. Might have been a combination of both.
Okay.
It just seemed like there was more rigmarole. However, is that worth it for this much money? Yes.
Absolutely is. And I will tell you that like a renovation loan, okay, every loan's going to be different. Every borrower's different.
Mhm.
So you've got things that you're going to need to go through. The process is different, but if you don't have the buy-in of you as that agent that's representing the buyer and the buyer's not active in doing the things that they need to do, then you're going to have issues.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, it was a lot more work than just, someone that has a great credit score and can go through Veridian or, credit,
Sure.
bam, and that's where they bank and it's all done. This was a lot of like little stuff. But like I said, it was worth it, I think.
Yep.
And she was a pain in the butt too, so.
So I always looked at this and I said, okay, you've got two sides to a loan file. You got your credit profile and you've got your property profile, those two things. This has got a lot more moving parts because of your property piece. And depending on the scope of work and the things that you do, two things happen in the Advantage program. Number one, because it's grant money through the city inspector is gonna be the one that goes out and does that initial inspection. So unlike in the renovation days when you had maybe a HUD consultant or a third party that you had to place an order through to get a study done once you got your bid, this is a little bit different. The city inspector goes out first twice a week. So twice a week, usually he'll get out, do the inspections on the properties. He gets us the report. That goes back to the homeowner as well. And in there, they're going to tell you, these are the things that have to be done. So these are your required improvements and repairs. If there's things that want to be done in addition to that, then we build those in. The problem is sometimes that the buyers today will get multiple contractors. So when we have that, we have layers of things that we end up following up on because we've got another bid, another contractor, another party that's got their hands in the transaction, right? So it's crucial that we get all of the required repairs or all the wanted repairs, get the contractor selected as soon as you possibly can by a specific deadline. So if I know I've got a closing date out here, when I'm going through my sign up with my customer, I'm walking them backwards. I'm kind of going to reverse engineer this whole closing process. Say, okay, here's closing date, and then walk them back on the things that have to happen by specific dates. If those things don't happen, you're probably going to miss close date. So that's where I say that they have to have the buy-in, and we've got to keep them on task to get those things done. And if we do those things, chances are, you're going to stay on track. Other things that can kind of blow you up sometimes is your appraiser. Your appraiser can come in, you might have a deal that comes in that appraises low, you got to go in and you got to restructure stuff. Or you might have a deal that comes in and the appraiser says, well, yeah, but I see this and maybe the city inspector doesn't want it or customer didn't, but the appraiser's pointing it out and we have to go back and we have to change bids. So one of those changes to a bid detail is going to cause probably about 6 things to change on our end. Because you've got to redisclose, you've got to update your title work, you got to update your bids. There's just a whole thing of things that happen. So staying on that, just to your point, the only thing I will tell you is just, this isn't a normal loan. It delivers a great deal of benefits to borrowers. They need to use this program, but understand that we want smooth closings for you too. And that's what we do. But in order for that to happen, that borrower's got to be engaged and they've got to stay on task with us. So we're going to need your partnership and your help in working together to kind of make that happen. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think that it's just really important for the lender to have that communication with the realtor too at this, because I had no idea that she was falling behind, but yeah.
Yeah, so baby steps for me. I'm coming into this, and NFC's been around a long time. And they've been around for almost 30 years now. So they've delivered a lot of great benefits to a lot of people throughout the years. And I know coming into it, it's not perfect, but hopefully with the things that I've been through in the past and my expertise in doing this, over time, we're going to get some improvements made to where, we just want to make that process better and a little bit smoother. Okay. So any more questions on that part and what we can do with that? If you're downsizing to a single family home, that grant is actually doubled. So it can go up to 20 grand. So from somebody like an empty nester that's downsizing and buys a home, that grant can be doubled. Not many people know that.
Why did they do that? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Neighborhood revitalization. We have an aging housing stock in this country and this city. This is why these programs are so viable and so important to the community.
So what do you have to be considered to be downsized? Just any property below? Do you have to go under a certain, what is there rigmarole to what downsizing is?
So if you're coming from a larger size home and you're downsizing, maybe you're outside and you're coming and moving into the city, but you're going from here to here. There's things that you want to do to the house and you qualify from an income standpoint.
But I mean, like,
Take the grant.
do you have to like do like 75% value, or could it be like a $200,000 home to a $190,000 home? I mean, that's what I'm looking for, downsizing.
Yeah, within reason. Within reason. If you're downsizing in square footage, area, value, things like that, you're gonna downsize, you're gonna qualify for more grant money. We don't see that a whole lot. I've not seen it used a whole lot, but it is another available piece that's there that, for somebody to use that fits that criteria.
And if it just has to follow all the guidelines just the same way as the other $10,000. I mean,
Right.
same thing with the city coming.
So it just
out.
has to be within a lending, an NFC lending area, and our lending areas have evolved and changed over the time, so if.
But they don't have to be coming from one, correct?
Correct. So the best way to determine, is this property eligible for NFC is just to go out to our website and pull up the link for the lending map and enter the address, and it's gonna tell you what neighborhood it's in. We've got a new
Pretty cool. I used
neighborhood,
it this weekend.
I'm sorry?
I used that map for the first time this weekend. It's pretty cool how you can just see
Yeah.
everything on there.
Yeah, and we've got a new area that's coming on board with Windsor Heights. Sometime probably within the next 60 days, it'll be everything kind of south of the interstate over to 63rd Street, Windsor Heights. It's gonna be a new NFC lending area for us. And those lending areas and things get determined by our city leaders as well. So, all right.
I do have a question on the 10,000 every 10 years for a property, because
Yes.
that's not exclusive to the homeowner, that's to the property. Is there a
To
way?
the homeowner.
Oh, to the homeowner?
Mhm.
I thought that if a property, maybe I heard
No,
wrong.
borrower can use that once every 10 years.
Okay,
I had it denied once because it was the property. In fact, I was working on the deal for my sister, and it turned out that because the property owner previous to her had been less than 10 years, she couldn't get the funds. NFC denied her.
When did that happen?
2 years ago, last month.
If you can get me some details on that, I'd like to look into that.
Sure.
Because the way I understand it, it's every 10 years for a borrower to be eligible.
Not for the property. Okay.
And maybe I'm wrong, but get me some details on it. I'd like to get back to you on that. Okay? So just anything here, just, some reasons why NFC is a good thing to do. You purchase loans with home renovations. They're forgivable loans with home renovations. We've got the Project Reinvest and the Polk County and LIFT programs. These programs can all be combined. So there's some serious money to be made available to a homeowner in those qualifying areas. If they meet that criteria, they can couple these grants. And that's the other point that I will make to you is that we talk about moving parts and pieces. We know we got moving parts and pieces to any loan, but when you add the contractors, now add the grant monies to that, it's just another layer for us.
I feel like it'd be so hard for us to be able to know exactly all of the coupons, let's say, for lack of a better term, that these people would qualify for. Is there someone that would be able to kind of gauge that to see?
Yeah, we do consultations, pre-approvals all the time. So myself, and I've got 2 originators here, my staff's kind of young.
I didn't
But I've
know that you guys actually are originators. That's pretty cool.
Yes. Chase Van Zee is one, and Portia Johnson is the other one. And I've got one in Cedar Rapids, Lynn Barrett.
Chase B&Z, is he new? Did he come
Yes.
from another bank?
Yes, because Joni was here for a long time,
Okay.
Joni Norman, and Joni retired. So Joni retired about 6 months ago from NFC. And then Richie Allen used to be there, and he was there for a while too. And he's moved on. He moved on, I don't know, maybe close to a year ago now. So.
So the Project Reinvest and the LIFT.
Mhm.
You can use another bank, and you can, if that bank is
Doesn't have to be Wells.
credit wise is what I'm thinking is like if that bank qualifies them at a 600, they're good to go.
So
Because,
for
like,
these
your other
programs,
stuff is-
so for these programs are different.
Okay.
So you gotta have at least a minimum 640 credit score
and they
to qualify. Yep,
Okay,
680 and above. We want somebody that's gonna be in there paying bills. We don't want somebody coming in and defaulting on these things. All of the loans get serviced by Iowa Bankers for the ones that we originate and do. So Iowa Bankers does all of our funding. If they go through a participating lender that they're able to use, we're the ones that administer the grant money, and that loan will go through them.
Where's the list of that?
The approved lenders are not determined for Neighborhood Lift yet. Won't be out until sometime by the end of this week.
So, but that is separate though of just your forgivable loans, because as I always understood that in order to do the forgivable loan renovations, it actually had to be.
That is
originated-
NFC.
It had to be originated by NFC.
It is NFC.
Gotcha. And
Yep.
so is that the same thing with the Project Reinvest or not?
So NFC is a lender.
I understand.
Okay, so we can be the ones that administer the grant, do the loan for Project Reinvest, for Neighborhood Lift, for the NFC Advantage. You can do those things. We just don't market it that way because we're not the ones that are putting the money out there for the program.
Right.
Okay. So as far as who are the lenders gonna be for Neighborhood Lift, there's probably gonna be 6 to 8 of them, and I would assume that they're gonna be real similar to the ones that we've got out here for Project Reinvest. Right here. You got Bankers Trust, First American Bank, Habitat for Humanity, Great Southern, Iowa State Bank, NFC, Two Rivers US Bank. Wells is not approved yet, but they're pending. They'll probably be all done by the time Lift rolls around here by the end of the week. Okay? So those are your lenders that participate in this. And again, the way that we structure the loans, we structure it to where it's not gonna have any PMI. Unlike doing some of the renovation loans in the past, there's no pricing variances for that program. So when we close a loan, we price that loan based off of the average 60-day Fannie Mae loan price for the day. That's how we price those. The secondary loans, if you have them, I will tell you, you're a little bit different because we price those based on income, and they're either going to be at a 2 or 4% rate. So most of them are at 2%. So if you got somebody that's got, $15,000, $20,000 loan at 2% over 10 years, it's silly money, number one. Number two, they're going to build their equity back quicker. And if they ever decide to sell the house, they're just going to be put in a much better position. So not variable rates, they're all fixed rates. Okay? So that's how we qualify that. Any other questions you guys have? Here's the map that I was going to show you with Windsor Heights. So this area, up there that you kind of see everything, just kind of south of there over to 63rd, you're going to have a pretty big area that's going to be a new, lending area for NFC that's basically just going to be added to our territory that we lend in right now. And I would say that that's probably going to be coming, from what I've been told, probably within the next 30 to 60 days. It's just about here.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah, it's big. So the two originators that we have in my office, Chase Van Zee, Portia Johnson, or myself, I don't have cards yet, otherwise I'd give you cards. They'll be coming. I'll get them done. But since I've come on, we just had so many things happen so fast. We had this out at Iowa Bankers last week, but since you guys missed, we wanted to get out and share this with you. So I believe Wednesday, the event is coming Wednesday downtown. So Stephanie Prush, our executive director, she's actually going to be giving a presentation at 3:45 after that event, but I will be downtown at the Realtor event between 1 and 3 with the rest of my team. I'm sorry?
Where do we sign up for that at? I thought there was like a sign up site.
There is.
Okay, do you know what it is?
Yeah.
I
Sure, there should be a link for that you can,
don't see it on your website. I was looking for it. Oh, realtors, contractors, realtor information. Wanted to sign up. I know it doesn't have it on there.
I'm trying to think of. I said.
if I don't, give me your card, and when I get back to the office, I can get that information sent over to you.
You can send it to me too, and I can put it
Yeah,
out to
but that'll be Wednesday from 1 to 3.
Okay, I'm just
Just
gonna put it in
for you
my
guys.
thing, and if I don't sign up, well, I'll show up anyways.
Okay. Any other questions that any of you guys got this morning?
Sounds like a great way to combine programs.
It is. There's some serious money on the table for homeowners that buy in Polk County, so.
There's so much on the table. I wish that I would have, I'm like really upset that my Saphir is not taking advantage of this, and not for the sake of me making money, but for the sake of them getting a lot of money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's insane how much money is available.
We figure it's probably gonna help somewhere between 260 and 300 families. So it's gonna get very busy very fast, especially when this event kicks off. It's gonna be, that last couple days in September, first week of October are gonna be crazy.
So they did say, and you might have said this as I was looking that information up, that we can start writing purchase agreements now. We just have to kick them out to the end of, like, they're,
You cannot have any possession closing dates prior to October 30th.
yeah, so we can do it now, just make sure it's.
After November 1st.
Okay.
Yep. And then for those buyers that you're working with that are considering maybe buying in Polk County that don't, want to get registered to see if they can qualify for the event, they just need to get registered. Registration will open up on the 10th, which is a week from, well, it's Monday, actually. That link will be live, so once they go out there and register, they'll bring all their documentation, things to the event. And if they qualify, they'll be leaving with a reservation for them to then work with you to find a property to purchase. As long as they've got a purchase agreement that is in place and accepted within 60 days of the event, then those funds will stay there for that person.
Just real quick, can you kind of go over, we're just talking about basic qualifications for a loan, right? We're not talking about anything special, anything out of the ordinary, right? Because obviously I'm trying to get a client to see it my way to go to this event and not to seem like a waste of time, right?
Like, everyone thinks that it's.
Everyone thinks that it's a waste of time.
Right.
Everyone thinks that something's pulling their leg, it's crap, it's not gonna work for me. So I need some power there to be like, hey, no, there's nothing special about your qualifications. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you said 680 credit score, you have to be under the credit or the income, right?
Yep.
And then you have to be in full
I
county.
think with neighborhood lift though, I don't believe there's an income requirement for neighborhood lift, just Project Reinvest.
Full county, okay, can you just tell me what else might be something that might detract them? So the income limit, you have to be in Polk County, the 680, is there anything else that we should know when searching these people out?
Not really. No, 5% down.
Oh, it is? I thought this was the down payment.
Well, they'll have 5% down, but they've got to have some skin in the game of their own money. It's not a 100% lending program.
So wait a minute, so they get $15,000 grant toward the down payment, but they have to have $5,000?
You just got to verify that they've got the income and have money available to them. And I'll get you some details on that.
Yeah,
And what I'll do is I'll get an income sheet out, because the Project Reinvest and the Neighborhood Lift are two different programs, two different grants.
let's focus on neighborhood lift then. So for neighborhood lift, because that's the one that they must go to this event for, correct? Okay, so let's focus on that.
So that is a down payment assistance program.
So they don't need to have 5%.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm like,
Any-
wait a minute,
any-
I have been sending people.
Any money down or?
No.
Nothing down, okay.
Because that
They just need that
15,000 is. And if it's a service worker, they get 17,500.
If it's first responder, military, or teacher, then that 15 grand goes to
Is that
17.5.
police officer?
There are
Firefighter.
income restrictions with that, but the income restrictions for the first responder, military, teacher are a little bit higher than what it is for the normal. And I think you're at 100% of the area median income is what the income limit is.
I think we'll be fine with teachers, but
Yeah, so you can go out to the,
And I don't think. you
HUD
can
website,
include
you can
husbands
find what the
anymore
median income limit is.
for Lyft.
But that one, the $15,000 grant needs the 680 credit score.
Yeah, anything that's under a 680 credit score, down to a 640 has to go to residential loan committee to be approved.
Gotcha.
Residential loan committee only meets twice a month. They
Okay.
meet on the first and third Wednesdays of each month. Unless, we've got something where we've got things in that we can get it out. And the residential loan committee is basically made up of board members for NFC. So they get together in a room and go over everything. If they're not, then we're getting it out to everybody and have to wait for the responses.
Do you expect the lift money to basically be all spoken for at this event?
We're expecting that
Mhm.
based on the other lift events that have taken place. Yeah, it'll go quick. So it's a Friday, Saturday event. For those people that don't, meet the reservation requirement or, come down and show up and want to come to the event but haven't registered before. Some of them may have access, some of them may not, some of them may be turned away at the door.
Can
So
you explain?
they need to register to come, and they need to make sure that they've got the required documentation.
Can you explain where this funding comes from?
So, part of NeighborWorks, a part of, what Wells does is basically their contributions that lenders make to communities. So they are donations from not just the lenders, they get things from, the city. There's grants that we get from donations, things that come in, and those monies all get pooled and coupled to make these programs available. I know in the past, I don't know about Lyft itself, but I know in the past, some of these things and the monies that they've got come in that go back into communities for different, homeownership programs might come from, some type of legal settlement, that a lender enters into. It doesn't go anywhere else, but they reinvest that money back into the communities for lending programs.
So this may be a useless tool, but I was making a Facebook post about this, just in the general, you guys, this is exciting, whatever. And I wasn't getting much response from it because everybody thought that it was too good to be true.
Yep.
However, I went through my friends list and just singled out people and sent them a private message, and I got super great response from that. People are interested, they're talking because it was a personal versus a group where everyone thinks.
Right.
So just in case you guys start doing that, I would recommend doing the personal messages.
Yep.
Versus the group, because nobody believes it that way.
And we've got, a page out there that they can actually go to and they can find information. So there's realtor resources, there's resources for buyers. They can go out to the site and just check it out. But this one, unlike regular NFC loans where we have targeted, neighborhoods that we can and can't lend in, Neighborhood Lift is all of Polk County. All right. I don't have anything else for you this morning. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, we appreciate
And
it.
if I can get some of your cards, give me a couple cards so I can get some things back to you. Kind of made a couple mental notes here, so.
Yeah, are you okay to share that? Your presentation
I can't
there?
take this.
No.
No, I can't print the
No,
presentation.
not necessarily print, but can you share it digitally or?
No.
No, okay.
But I will get you some information where it comes down to the income limits, things like that. Because they are different for the Lyft